At the time, I wasn't ready to get pregnant, and I got this urge to throw up. I just kind of kept on pushing down the thought, like, no, we're not pregnant, we're not pregnant, I'm not pregnant, I'm not pregnant. Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Candace, and for those who are new, I hope you guys enjoy this video and decide to join the family. Today's video is going to be about me finding out that I was pregnant with my daughter Eden. Eden is now 2.5, or a little bit over 2.5, almost 3 months old. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's get into it. I'm fighting a cold, so I might sound a little bit congested. I feel like ever since my son Eli was sick, it was like him and I going back and forth between being sick and not being sick. And I feel like this morning I just woke up with my sinuses bothering me. So my apologies for sounding a little stuffed up or congested on the camera. But I want to come on here and tell you guys the story of how I found out I was pregnant with Eden. So yeah, in August of 2019, on August 19th, 2019, unfortunately, my grandmother, she passed away in Jamaica. It affected me a lot because her and I had a good relationship, and I have so many good memories of staying with my grandmother during the summer months. And even there was a time period where she lived with me and my siblings at my mom's house and took care of us. So I was very emotional when she passed away. I was cry off and on, go through the typical grieving process. And from August, September, October, I kept on hearing in my head a saying that she would always say to all of us grandkids that we were her heart and her soul. So I kept on hearing that repeatedly, as if she was just talking to me. Like, I would close my eyes, whether my eyes were closed or open, I would hear "Una amihata masul," which is pretty much the saying I just said. Sorry if you hear or see Eli in the background. He is playing, but anyways. So I would keep on hearing the saying every day, and I would just get emotional and teary-eyed, and yeah, it was, I was just going through the grieving process. And then one week, Charles kept on joking around with me and said, "Oh, Candace, like, you're so emotional, you're so irritable, like, are you pregnant? Like, you're pregnant." And I kept on saying stuff like that, and I'm like, no, there's no chance. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not pregnant. And he's like, "You're pregnant, whatever." But he would say it in a joking way. And I'd be like, "Stop joking like that." Like, me and him, like, we've talked about having another baby. At the time, I wasn't ready to get pregnant, and we weren't ready to have another baby because we had plans that we wanted to do other things before having a second child together, because Charles is a dad of 2 already from a previous relationship. So having 3 kids off and on in our household was already enough, and we weren't ready for baby number 4, pretty much. We wanted to make sure financially we were in a different position, our living situation was different, and yeah, just with Eli being 1 year old, we were like, oh my god, they'd be so close in age. And we were going through the process of his diagnosis, his ADS or ASD diagnosis. So I wasn't too sure, like, how would I be able to function with Eli and then another baby. Like, I just, like, that's gonna be impossible to deal with the 2. Like, at that time too, Eli was not eating like, he wasn't eating solid foods strictly. He was still trying to nurse and breastfeed. He was starting to get into eating purees a little bit, but it wasn't enough to satisfy him where I could wean him off of nursing. So yeah, I just kind of kept on pushing down the thought, like, no, we're not pregnant, we're not pregnant, I'm not pregnant, I'm not pregnant. But then one day, like, I was really craving tacos. Like, it's not weird for me to crave tacos because anybody that knows me knows I love tacos, I love burritos. Mexican food is like one of my favorite things to eat. So I was like, okay, I'm making tacos for dinner. They were really, really good tacos. And I went to give Eli his bath after. And all of a sudden, as I was bathing him, I got this urge to throw up. And I was like, this is weird. Like, why do I want to throw up? And then again, it came, and I, like, threw up a little bit. Sorry, TMI, or this is gross, but I threw up a little bit in my mouth, but it kind of, like, went right back down. And I just remember being like, why am I feeling nauseous? Like, I cooked the meat well. Like, everything was prepared properly. There shouldn't be any reason as to why I would throw up. And all of a sudden, I heard my grandmother talk to me. And she was just like, Cass, go take a pregnancy test. You're pregnant. You're having a baby girl. And I kept on like pushing the thought away. Like, what are you talking? Like, I'm like, Grandma, what are you talking about, girl? Like, a girl is not pregnant. But I was like, whatever. I have spare pregnancy tests just in case in my bathroom. So we have 2 different bathrooms, one for the kids, one for me and Charles. And I remember after bathing Eli, I was like, you know what? When I go and take my shower, I'm just going to go and take a test and see, you know, it's probably going to be negative, because we've had moments where my period, I guess, didn't return back to normal after having Eli. So there was days where my cycle is weird. Like sometimes it has never really been a full 28 day. Sometimes it's like 21 days. And then I got to a point where consistently it was like between 24 and 26 days. And so I kept on ranging from like 21 to 30, 32, 36 days. So it was so irregular that I kept pregnancy tests in my washroom just in case, just so I would know, and instead of having to run to the store to see if anything was happening. I was having like a flashback moment of when I was taking a pregnancy test when I found out I was pregnant with Eli. It was like, you know, I think you have to wait 2 minutes or whatever when you take your pregnancy test to find out the results. But with Eli, it was like as soon as the liquid was going across the little dye section, it was boom, boom, 2 solid lines, clear as day. So I was like, oh my God, if I see that, like, that is ridiculous. But I was like, in my head, I'm like, no, I'm not pregnant. I'm not pregnant. I'm not pregnant. I'm not pregnant. Like, no, there's no way I'm pregnant. So there I go. I took the test, and it was like something in me was like, look down at the test right now. Like, as soon as I pulled it away to look at it, the liquid was going through, and just like Eli, boom, boom, 2 lines instantly. There was no 1 minute wait, 2 minute wait. Seconds later, completely positive test. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I just remember feeling a wave of emotions. And it was like, not that I was mad about being pregnant, but it wasn't necessarily happiness. It wasn't complete sadness, more worry, I guess you could say. And I was terrified of having to tell Charles, because I know with Charles, like, once he has a plan, he likes things to go his way. Like, he doesn't like deviating from, or is that the right word? Yeah. He doesn't like going off track of what he has planned down. And a lot of times, like, he wants things to go the way he wants it to go. So I was terrified to tell him, we're going to have another baby. And that was like the first thought was in my mind. The second one was, oh my God, Eli. Like, how am I going to handle Eli and another baby? Much less like Eli and being pregnant. Like, it was just so much things was going on in my head. And I remembered then taking my shower, coming out, and I got super emotional. I was like crying in the shower too. But as I came out the shower, I was crying on the bed for a bit in my towel. And I was like, you know what, Cass, no, calm down. Like, I was like having like a full-blown panic, like anxiety attack. And I was like, calm down, like, get dressed, wash your face, come in the living room, everything's gonna be fine. We just need to figure out how we're gonna tell Charles. So I did all that, went into the living room, and it was like I couldn't even look at him. I just knew that he wasn't gonna be super thrilled about it when he first heard the news. So I remember sitting down on the couch, and he looked at me, and I could feel him looking at me, and he was just kind of like, Bun, which is his nickname for me, short form for Bunny, because when him and I first met, I ate a lot of vegetables and stuff like that. So he was just like, you eat like a rabbit. So that's where the nickname comes from. But yeah, anyways, he calls me Bun. So he was like, Bun, what's wrong? And I was like, oh, nothing. And I'm trying to like brush it off so he can leave me alone, because I know if he keeps talking to me, I'm going to get super emotional and I'm going to start crying, and I don't want that to be the way that I tell him. And he kept on asking, and I was just like, I'm fine, it's okay. Like, I wanted to just drop it, leave it alone so I could tell you later. But he kept on telling me, like, coming at me and asking me, and he knew something was wrong. So I was like, you know what, whatever, I'm just gonna tell him. And I was like, so when I was bathing Eli, I had a moment where I like threw up in my mouth and I decided to take a pregnancy test. And he was just like, okay. And I was like, he's like, you're pregnant? And I'm like, yeah, the test came back positive. And it's in the bathroom if you want to see it. And I remember him was like, he sat down on the couch and he kind of like I guess he was in shock or whatever. Like both of us went silent. And I was like, oh God, he's mad. Like, he's not happy about this news right now. And he went to the bathroom, looked at the test, and was like, wow, you're really pregnant, eh? And I'm like, yeah. And he came back, and I feel like we sat on the couch for like 5 to 10 minutes in silence, just both trying to process everything. And then after, once things kind of settled down, he like gave me a hug and was like, everything's gonna be okay, we're gonna figure this out. And he was just like, but wow, another baby, eh? And I'm like, yeah. And I think to me too, the reason why I feel like Charles took it hard is because when I first met Charles was like, he didn't even want kids. And he already had his first child. And I feel like he was like, you know, this is going to be my one and only child. But then he had baby number 2. And when baby number 2 came, it was like, okay, I have my boy, I have my girl, I'm done. You know, we're good. And then after him and I had Eli, and he was like, okay, no, I'm officially done. No more babies. But then I was like, oh, I want a little girl. Like, you know, hopefully like the next baby we have, or if we have another baby, it's a girl. I remember it's either right before or right around the time my grandmother passed away. You say hi, Eli.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. When you're supposed to say hi. But anyway, sorry. So it's right around the time that my grandmother passed away that I had a dream that I had a daughter named Eden. You saying see you soon?
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Why are you saying bye? Right around the time that my grandmother passed away, I had a dream that I had a daughter named Eden Sade. And I just kept on, I remember I told my mom, and I think I told my best friend or my sister. And then I told Charles about it. And I'm like, oh, the next time we have a baby, if it's a girl, I'm naming her Eden Sade. And so when I had then my grandmother tell me, take the pregnancy test, you're having a little girl. To then find out I was pregnant that day, I was like, oh my God, I feel like my grandmother was trying to tell me everything from the beginning, what was happening. So, you know, now I found out I'm pregnant, I went and I feel like I'm in denial that I'm pregnant. Like, I feel like my pregnancy didn't feel real to me until, I don't even know when. I don't even know if it was like up until she was born. Like, it's like I knew I was pregnant. Obviously, I had to deal with me being pregnant. But it didn't really set in that I was having a second child, I think, until I saw her physically. And it's crazy, like, to go 9 months pregnant and not feel like I'm pregnant or not believe in my, like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just all weird. But yeah, so time went on. Did the ultrasounds, went to my midwife appointments, everything like that. And everyone would ask me like, oh, what do you think you're having? And like when I was pregnant with Eli, I had this feeling like at first, the very, very beginning, I'm like, oh, it's a girl. I wanted to have a daughter first and then my son. I just wanted my son to be my baby boy for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, so I was just like hoping and praying I was having a girl. And yeah, I kept having dreams, and I would read online that if you have dreams of a boy, you're actually having a girl. Or if you have dreams of a boy, you're actually having a boy. So it was like, I don't know which one is which, but I kept on seeing more people saying, oh, I dreamt I had a boy, but I had a girl. And I dreamt I had a girl and I had a boy. So I was thinking, okay, now that I'm having dreams of a boy, I'm definitely going to have a girl. But there was that one point where not only my mom, but Charles's mom also said, no, I think you're having a boy. So the majority of the people around us was like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And this is like early, like maybe, I don't know, like 10, 11 weeks. This is prior to finding out my gender. So this is like, yeah, probably even earlier than 10, 11, maybe about even 8 weeks pregnant, that people are saying, you're having a boy, I think it's a boy, I think it's a boy. And I knew in my gut at one point, there was like one particular dream I had that I was like, oh, I'm having a boy. As soon as he went to do his gender scan at the ultrasound tech, or the x-ray place or whatever, clear as day, he was a boy. Like, the technician was like, do I even have to tell you? I was like, no. His legs was wide open and you could see his little bird in the middle. So I was just like, oh, he's definitely a boy. And with Eden, it's like, because of everything that happened with my grandmother, I felt in my gut she was a girl from day one. Like, I never questioned it or anything like that. I'm like, I'm having a girl, I know it's a girl. But because it's baby number 2, I didn't really want to have another gender, or not a gender, I didn't want to have another baby shower, because with Eli, all we did was a baby shower. We didn't do a gender reveal necessarily. We kind of only revealed it to people on the invitation, but we didn't do like a gender reveal party, I should say. So with Eden, I wanted to do like a gender reveal party, something that was still special, to celebrate her coming. And when I did the gender scan for Eden, I told the tech, we're having a gender reveal, please don't disclose the gender to me. So she put the gender in an envelope and everything, and she was asking me like, oh, what do you think it is? And I'm like, oh, I think it's a girl. Like, in my gut, I feel it's a girl. And she's like, okay, that's a good guess, whatever. She's like, but it could be a boy. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, that's the only 2 options I have, a girl or a boy at this point. And I remember just coming home and Charles was like, I want to know the gender. I don't want to wait until the gender reveal. So he's like, he doesn't want to be surprised. So I was like, okay, the envelope's in the room, which I always said to myself, I should just have given him a fake envelope, but it's okay. So I put the envelope in the room and I told him, you read it, don't react or nothing. I don't want to know for sure. Like, even though in my gut, as I said, I felt it was a girl, I wanted him to just keep it to himself. And I told him, make sure you don't slip up. He's like, I promise I won't. And I'm like, the thing about Charles is if he's drinking or whatever, most times, like, he's a truth teller, to be honest, pretty, like, sober or not, like, he tells the truth. But then he tends to volunteer more information when he's drunk, or he'll tend to slip up and not realize, oh my god, I said something I shouldn't have said. So in my gut, I was like, okay, he's gonna get drunk one day and he's gonna say she, or he's gonna say he, and I'm gonna know the gender. But I told myself too, if he does slip up, I won't call him out on it and make it obvious, because I don't want him to feel bad for letting me know the gender, because I wanted to be surprised. And Easter came around and Charles's mom was over at our house, and I remember I was showing her the ultrasound pictures, because Eden in the ultrasound pictures would always have her legs like completely straight. So I was making fun of her legs and being like, oh, look at her legs, whatever. And Tammy, Charles's mom, was just like, oh, laughing, whatever. And as Charles opened his mouth to speak, I was like, please don't mess up and say something, like, whatever. And as soon as he opened his mouth up, he's like, she. And I was like, ugh. And she reacted, she was like, oh my god, it's a girl. And I was like, oh, damn it. So I still try to play it cool and like completely disregard it, but she kept on being like, it's a girl, you guys knew it's a girl, it's a girl. And I was like, I didn't know, but Charles was like, yeah, she knew, but she didn't know. Like, so she was kind of confused, because I was like, in my gut, I knew, because I felt like my grandmother told me that it was a girl, but I didn't read the envelope. I didn't have hard proof to say, yes, she's definitely a girl until that moment. So I wasn't surprised when we found out, or when I found out. But I was happy, because then I was like, oh my god, I feel like there's definitely some type of connection with my daughter and my grandmother. And they say, I don't know if it's in all cultures, but I know for sure in Jamaican culture, like, when one person passes, a baby's born. So I felt like, unfortunately, like, my daughter came as a result of my grandma leaving this world, but kind of wish that my grandmother got to see her great-granddaughter. Even Eli, she didn't get to like meet him in person because of COVID. So unfortunately, I would send her pictures and stuff, but she never got to see him in person. And I knew she would have been an amazing grandmother, or amazing great-grandmother to my kids. But you know, it is what it is. It's life, unfortunately. I know she's looking down and she's probably happy to see the type of mother I am and see how my kids are. And yeah, even another thing that I felt that there was some other type of connection between my daughter and my grandmother is because my daughter's due date was August 20th, a full year after my grandmother's, the anniversary of my grandmother's death date. So Eli, he came at 38 weeks and 5 days. I was like, I have a feeling Eden's gonna go to term, but she's gonna probably be born the day of my grandmother's death date. And that day came, but she wasn't born. She was born later on. But anyways, I just thought it was kind of crazy that, again, as I said, like in Jamaican culture, when one person passes, another person is born. So what's crazy to me to actually possibly have my daughter have the same birthday as the day that my grandmother passed away, or the day after my grandmother passed away. But yeah, so that was the time I found out I was pregnant with Eden. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Maybe it was a quick little story time video. And I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe. We have more videos coming for you guys. You can see that we've done a pumpkin patch. We went to Cuba for our first family vacation and had a mini baby moon. I wish I took more videos and pictures and filmed more content there, but the resort didn't turn out to be the way that I wanted it to be, but it's okay. Besides that, we still had a great time, and I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Stay blessed. Bye.